Yes, sir. The Devil's Puck Luck podcast, live look-in edition, as we've done this all playoffs long for your New Jersey Devils. It's game number 4. It's MSG. The Devils coming obviously down 2-1, but getting that last key overtime victory really sets the table for getting this back to even and making it a battle the rest of the way. Love what we've seen, I think, so far in this first period. We could maybe make the case the best period of hockey that the Devils have played in totality.
Yeah, I think that they are completely in the series now. We're worried about after 2 games that they were going to get completely blown out of the series and they weren't going to show up. Listen, game 3 was a very evenly matched game. I think we can all agree on that. Devils and Rangers fans see that. Game 4, first period, it looks like the Devils had a little bit of better play. Still even teams, right? They're both very even teams that are going to make some mistakes, make some, defensive mistakes. The Devils are more solid, I think, moving through the neutral zone into our offensive zone. And now let's capitalize on this power play.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they still have a little bit left there after being on a power play, successfully defending it, getting the penalty there with the hand pass in front of Schmid. Now we'll go 4-on-4, and then they'll come back out with a little bit, like I think 110 left on that power play in the second period. Something around
Timo Meier probably had the worst shift. Yeah, he probably had the worst shift of his Devils playing career with the tripping over nothing behind his net and then just blatantly clearing the puck out for that delayed game penalty. And that hand pass, by the way, that was a hand pass. Schmid reached his hand up. But
they both got in there. Yeah, it was legit. But if you're a Rangers fan, we talked about this before we came on watching this game, was if you're on either side of it, you're going to look at the ones that are negligible that could go either way. You usually think they should or should not go for or against your team.
Well, the funny thing is we were talking about at the first period. We're at the first intermission now, and seeing the Rangers players frustrated as they are, I think, obviously plays into the Devils' hands. You saw the Devils players extremely frustrated in game 1 and 2. So seeing Tarasenko, it's rare for him, Tarasenko, to throw his arms up like that. And it's usually you're going to get a penalty call if you throw your arms up. But I love that the Devils are frustrating them right now.
And this has been the difference to me. We go back to those first 2 games. We were talking about it. Do they have to answer the bell, the Devils, in terms of the physicality that the Rangers are going to bring? Yes. We've also seen Timo Meier is wincing on the ice. I think that physical toll that he's taken across those last 2 games, and really game number 3 specifically, it's going to wear on you. So when you go all the way back to the first 5 minutes of the first game of this series, the Devils getting 2 quick power plays because the Rangers had to chase them. Yeah. And when you talk about frustrating the Rangers, this is the first time, even beyond game number 3, this is the first time where you are seeing the Devils say, this is how the style of this game is going to go. You have to come answer that. There's going to be ebbs and flow to it, but sure. I really appreciate that. Even if, I will say on the power play, on special teams, I was much more impressed with what they did in game 3. So far, though, 0 for 2, they've been a little bit more frantic on the penalty kills to me.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I agree. There's been a little more open passing in the offensive zone for the Rangers.
Guess what, though? 0 for 2.
Yeah, they're 0 for 2, but we also came quick to the puck when we were out of position, so that's a good sign. Listen, there's a lot of hockey left. Right now, we're playing the way we want to play the Rangers, but with this Rangers team, veteran team, experienced team, they can turn it very easily. So the Devils have to be consistent, be smart with the puck, continue to utilize speed. I think that's the biggest point of this game is just playing your game. And you said it well. It's good to be physical, but we got away from our game. And we're still being physical on the boards, but we're not going out of our way to try to play like the Rangers with the heavy hits behind the net or in our defensive zone. We don't need to do that. That's not our style of play. And I think now we're seeing the Devils more understand who they are as a unit.
Yeah.
And I know it's
trusting yourself and trusting
and
your style.
Right. And it's an 82-game season. So you're like, what do you mean they're just understanding it? This is playoff hockey. It's a different season. Your regular season is going to be way different than your playoff season. The ice gets smaller. The plays are more, you maximize your opportunities with each play. So listen, good first period.
Big nod of the cap to Akira Schmid. Looks good again in goal. His anticipation seems to be there, especially on the penalty kills. He got himself out to the front of his crease on the shot from the point. He gets over to the right side post when it feels like you can see that pass is going there, anticipating a little bit like, hey, where are my defensemen? Not. So where do I think the puck will go? He's had another consistent game here. Devils ahead on shots, winning the face-off battle, won a couple in their own zone as well, which is obviously the critical ones. So listen, the boxes are getting checked right now, and most importantly,
down on shots, just by 2.
Sorry,
they're up on face-offs. We're about 60% on face-off, just and 10, 8 shots. Rangers had a couple more hits, so we're even in that sense. Listen, it's a very
even-paced game. It's an even style of game, and now it just comes down to, I think this power play is critical right now. If you can get that second one, this is what I said when we were watching, and we'll come back in after the second period, obviously. But when they get that initial first goal, let's go ahead and mention
Oh,
that Jack Hughes gets the puck in the open ice and does exactly what Jack Hughes needs to do.
Yeah.
And I said it at the time, man, if you said who is the most dangerous player with the puck on his stick in this series, it's Jack Hughes. And that is a difference maker if you think that at the worst, you can mitigate those odd man rushes for the Rangers, that you don't put any of their key offensive weapons in the position the Rangers did for Jack.
Right.
The Devils can win games like that. I'd love to see them get this second goal here and really put the pressure on the Rangers to have to open themselves up, because you know the Devils can counter.
Right, and not if we don't score in the power play, at least getting some nice quality shots, scoring chances.
Yep.
Akira Schmid is the reason why Jack Hughes got that goal too. You know, he was phenomenal in that sequence. And again, it comes down to puck luck. You know, so you're going to get bounces both ways for the Rangers, for the Devils. It's just like you said, the ebbs and flows of a hockey game, and the Rangers will come back. So we need to make it very clear that this game is far from over, obviously, and we need to keep playing our game, keep the momentum up, keep the speed up, and I think it's going to be a fun second period.
Another opportunity where the Devils are leading a game. Did this in game number 3, had to go all the way to overtime in order to get the W. Let's hope they can do it a little bit sooner, but a long way to go, another 40 minutes, and we'll be back in along the way, breaking it all down. Adam Arbrecht and Danny McDonough for the Devils Puck Luck Podcast, intermission number 2. It still remains a Devils lead, 1-0. They still look like they were on the front skate for much of that period, and then about the 3:50 mark, exactly what I think we were waiting for the Rangers to do. They dial up the physicality, and the Devils, for a second there, looked like they were going to buy into that and get themselves caught out of place.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that we've been talking about is not play the Rangers game. The Rangers are going to try and force you to do that, and they're going to put the pressure on, especially in this third period, being down 1 goal. That's not a comfortable lead for the Devils. I think we know that. Schmid, a little bit of a dangerous miss there on the near post. And luckily, I think it was Severson that cleared it out.
Yeah, tries to glove it. And he thinks he has it pinned against his side. He knows he doesn't have it in his glove. It's actually through his 5-hole and trickling across the front of goal. Thankfully, it looked like Severson got it out.
Yeah, we got lucky with that. And listen, again, that goes back to the puck luck that's just going to happen throughout the series. And listen, I know we didn't score on the power play in that period, but I thought the power play spread the puck a lot better. We looked a lot better on the power play. Continue to do that. Continue to improve on the power play. Continue to improve just on your neutral zone, coming into the offensive zone. And like you said, and you pointed out, we were talking, is they're not dumping the puck and chasing as much. They're skating into the offensive zone for the Rangers. And more importantly, if they do lose the puck, they're forechecking well. I think the fourth line has had a great game, you know, minus the Lazar penalty. And again, something we talked about. The refs throughout the entire NHL this year are going to call those borderline plays because the NHL, let's face it, they want to see more scoring. That's just the way the new NHL is, and you got to adjust to the game. That's how it is. So I think the Devils have done a great job on special teams the last few games, and they need to continue that if they're going to get the victory tonight.
Yeah, it's part of playoff hockey. It's part of hockey in general. It's part of sports. And this is what we talked about coming into the game. It's always, you know, referring to the referees or a given call outside of the very egregious ones, right? We've seen those in sports throughout history. But overall, that is the last respite of a desperate fan base saying, oh, we got outplayed. That's usually what you got outplayed, because it should never be that one penalty is what determined you winning or losing a game by and large. Last thing I'll say is Jack Hughes, who had that breakaway goal in the first period, obviously to give the Devils the lead, we were saying he's done a much better job of keeping his head up in that final zone. In the offensive zone, he's really done a really good job, especially in those closing sequences. Found Dougie Hamilton back at the point, got it down low, recycled it back. You know, the value of what he brings with his speed and being able to take on 3-4 guys at a time, it's amazing. Yeah. But if he keeps his head up, he can actually set up some other guys really well.
You know, and that's about the Devils' speed, right? That's what we talk about. He's playing his game. The Devils are playing their game with their speed through the neutral zone into the offensive zone. And listen, Jack has taken some hits, you know, and he's gotten back up.
He got sandwiched there.
Yeah, he's gotten back up, and he's played strong. He's played hard. I think it motivates him a little extra. He's a young kid. His legs are under him. He's good, you know, with his, you know, endurance, you know, and his agility this year in this playoff season. So, listen, at the end of the day, this period, this 20 minutes is obviously going to be the most important so far of the Devils season. Just continue to play your game. You know, are there things that you look out for in this third period that the Devils need to watch out for in regards to the Rangers play?
Exactly how the Rangers tried to end that second period. I think the first 4 or 5 minutes of this third period is going to be critical, because if they come out with that physicality, Timo Meier is laboring right now. He's having a bad game, but I think it's directly related to how physical things were prior. Do not react listen, Jack Hughes, you are a leader on this team. You're an assistant captain. You need to go to your guys and say, I get that I'm getting, maybe beat up a couple times out there. Do not overreact. Do not overcommit to it, because it's only going to feed into what the Rangers want. A physical game, more penalties getting drawn. Those 4-on-4 situations are as dangerous for the Devils defensively as it is for the Rangers offensively.
Yeah.
So, continue to play your game, play to your identity, make them chase you. And I think hopefully there's one more chance here on a power play to get that 2-goal cushion and really put the pressure on the Rangers to open themselves up.
Play discipline, and like you said, don't take a retaliatory penalty. That's what's going to kill any team in the playoffs. And listen, we have been playing very well when it comes to discipline compared to the first 2 games, obviously. And the Devils are built on the road. They know what they're doing on the road, and we got to continue this. We got to get this win. 20 minutes of hockey to play. Igor's going to be tough. We know Igor's going to be tough, but remember, just get some traffic in front of the net. Maybe get a dirty goal. We haven't seen Mercer's name a lot tonight, and watch out for him because he has the speed similar to Jack. And I agree with you with Timo. I think Timo looks a little – something's going on with him. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if he's just in his own head and he's trying to grip the stick a little too tight, but he's not having a great game. But that's where you go with your other guys, your young core, to be able to step up and to be able to, great pass through the neutral zone into the offensive zone. And maybe we see, a Tuna goal. Maybe we see a Palat goal. I know a lot of fans are waiting for a Palat goal.
Better stick work across the board really from the Devils, especially defensively. This is where we mention a guy like Jesper Bratt and say, hey, he's not a big physical player, but he's done a nice job being disruptive in that way, shifting things out of the defensive zone. He was there, I think, trying to connect with Timo on that left wing and a little bit out in front of him, and Timo just didn't quite seem to have that burst to get to that final puck. It's all there in front of the Devils in this third period. We'll be back in on hopefully what is a regulation victory for the Devils, but stay focused. 20 minutes to go. And we'll wrap things up.
Let's go.
Woo! And that, my friends, is how you take a 7-game series and break it down to 3. The Devils up 1-0 going to the third period. A very quick pressured goal from the Rangers. Great kick save from Schmid, but unfortunately it goes back out in front of the goal. They tie it up, and then all of a sudden, everything gets a little bit tense from there. The Devils are playing a little bit frantic. There's loose passing. There's bad turnovers. And it all comes back together.
It does, yeah. What a win.
Incredible.
What
Incredible,
man. To tie this series 2-2 when everybody was
Don't
like,
block my sign.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's get it in here. When everybody thought that the Devils had no chance to even be back in this series, we tie it up at 2. It's a best of 3 now. It's a best of 3. We're going back home. The Rock is going to be completely different atmosphere now. I can't even speak. I'm so excited.
Tragically, that neither home team in this series has been able to win a game yet. But what I do think feels dramatically different now for the Devils is those first 2 games. And we've said this since those games, but it was hard to squint and see the Devils just getting back into rhythm, getting back to playing their style of hockey. Started to do it in game 3. You can argue like they had to claw their way to that victory. This one felt, I'd say, 85% of the game, Devils stayed inside of what they're true to. They allowed it to work. And let's talk about that key second goal that got them the lead back there. This is Siegs, man. He starts it and he finishes it. What a great. Only took 2 passes, start to finish, from Siegs to Hischier on the right, and then back to Siegs.
He was scratched. He didn't play in game 2. Think about that. Siegenthaler with an amazing outlet pass to Nico. Nico, vision on the ice is absolutely impeccable. To slow the play up, to see Siegenthaler coming down the wing. What a shot.
Siegenthaler did such an excellent job on that sequence because they show it on the replay from a high-profile perspective. Siegenthaler gets that outlet pass from about midway in the defensive zone, and he essentially just slow plays it right into the dead zone. You know the pressure because you get a 2-line pass like that out to Hischier. The defense for the Rangers is looking at everyone who's in and around the net. Siegenthaler just waits for a spot. It's a really excellent pass from Hischier and really rewards Hischier for what I think was a really good game. We talked about Jesper Bratt, some of these sequences that were almost there. That was a great reward for being in the right spot and making the right play.
Honestly, and you know what really impressed me the most is that we played our game, but we shut it down defensively. And we played smart on the boards. We played extremely physical on the boards, which was a difference physicality-wise between playing hard on the boards and throwing your body around recklessly. You notice that Timo Meier's ice time was a lot less because he was outmatched by a lot of Rangers players tonight. And I think that I give the Devils staff a lot of credit for seeing that and knowing that he was a little bit of trouble, throughout this game. And the fact that he took less ice time, I'm okay with.
Yeah, it's the balance
Yeah,
because
it is.
what you're getting there was, well, we have Timo out there because we want the more physical presence, but we're noticing as we buy into the physicality of the Rangers, it's actually maybe to our detriment. Man, when we came into this series, could you honestly, now the Devils get an empty net goal here, they pull Shesterkin at the 2-minute mark.
Palat finally scores.
Thanks, Palat, for putting that one in there, who, by the way, clarification here, we weren't sure when Schmid thought he gloved that one and it snuck through and was trickling across the face of goal on the replay. It is Palat that digs that one out. So he gives you a goal in the empty net. He also saves you a goal on the doorstep.
We thought it was, you know why I thought it was Severson? Because we saw the 8. We didn't realize it was a 1-8 instead of 2.
100%. Now, coming into this series, was there any world where you thought, let's just call it a 2-1 victory? That's effectively what this was. Back-to-back 2-1 victories.
I want that 3-1 victory right there. Because that empty net goal was deserved. The way that they played defensively in the last 2 minutes.
Let's put it this
phenomenal.
way. If across 2 games, I told you that there was a total of 7 goals, what would you think the likelihood was that the Devils were winning those matchups? Because coming into it, I really thought this was going to be about the Devils' speed, which they're utilizing, but you mentioned it. They've just done such a good job defensively these last 2 games. I thought that the higher scoring games were going to be where the Devils had success. Yeah. Maybe those are still to come here in this series, but this is winning a little bit different way. Now, and you mentioned this last one quickly, that the Devils did win their last regular season matchup against them 2-1. So it's in there, but I'm just shocked and excited, ecstatic.
No, absolutely. We spoke about it, that this was probably going to be a little bit of a low-scoring series in that sense. Not 5-4 games, not 4-3 games, the 4-2 types of games, the 3-2 types of games. The fact that the Devils have come back the way they have, and a lot of it based on the way they play defense, the way Schmid has played goal, the way they're forechecking, the way their board play has been, the way we're playing physically in the right ways these last 2 games, no one expected.
I think they're finding the right recipe now. And
100%. And what you said, it's 7 goals over 4 games. You don't expect the series to be tied 2-2. You would think we're down a game. You would think that we're just not playing well at all. So the fact that we have 7 goals, and our game is getting a lot better as the series is going on. It's a great feeling to know that we can play that type of defensive game as well and still utilize our speed to get the scoring chances.
And let's be honest, the Siegs goal, king, off the post there, right? The little one that almost gets through on Schmid but gets saved by Palat. The puck luck was definitely in the Devils' favor tonight, and that really matters, man. 12 total goals across the first 2 games. 10 goals for the Rangers in the first 2 games. Just 2 over the last 2. Listen, we thought they could get back to playing their style of hockey. Now, we'll go back to the Rock. This will be a 3-game series, and right now you have to think that all of the energy is in the Devils' favor. Absolutely. All of the pressure is going to be on the Rangers, and you have to come right back out, try to do the exact same thing. What happened these last 2 games? The Devils got the lead, and that changes the dynamic and shifts how the Rangers want to play that. Another really big tip of the cap to the team overall. They did not succumb to the Rangers trying to goat them into some physicality, some scrums, and some penalties. Yeah. We love to see the Devils answer the bell, but you see how much different it is when you avoid taking those penalties.
Most importantly, hats off to the NHL because there was both borderline types of calls that could have been called in that third period. They let the boys play 5-on-5 hockey for that third period, which you love to see, you know, because that's really where you're going to see what team is going to come out victorious on a 5-on-5. Obviously, special teams has a lot to do with victories and losses. Tonight, listen, the Devils held their own, special teams as well. So, that's a check mark that we wanted to see. I'm really happy with the boys, the way they played with special teams, obviously. Going into Game 5, looking ahead here a little bit. First of all, let me backtrack, actually, because we talked about this for a while. Face-offs.
60% of them. Disappointing that in those closing sequences, the Devils lost a couple of key ones in their own zone and then just outside of the Rangers zone as well. But overall, they're doing that job. And we had talked about McLeod, the concern around injury. Without him in there, along with Haula, these are critical to their success. And you've seen the way Rupp has gone out of his way to try to shift them in to win some of those key faceoffs.
Absolutely. And McLeod has been phenomenal. He's third in the NHL in faceoffs. He's showing why he's going to be in on all those important faceoffs. And Haula right behind him, too. On a couple of the icing, we had, Hughes taking a couple faceoffs, too, after McLeod or Haula got kicked out, whatever it might have been on the icing. The fact that the Devils played smart, and especially with those faceoffs, you're looking at all the facets of the game, where we can improve. Obviously we're going to clean up some things. Rupp's going to clean up some things that he sees. But for me, and I think you agree, the lineup stays the same for Game 5. You don't touch the lineup.
Didn't touch the lineup coming into this one. You're not going to touch the lineup going forward. You don't fix what is not broken. Something was broken in the first 2 games of this series. It'll be interesting to see. And ironically, unlike the Devils, the Rangers, why would you switch up a lot? You have a lot of veteran talent. You have a lot of experience. You can tweak little things if you want. But one of the things that does benefit the Devils is we got a lot of young players.
Yeah.
And okay, hey, we're going to make a shift here. Having Schmid come in and look as good as he has, that's something that you're never going to see. The Rangers aren't going to go away from Shesterkin. They never should. No. And you're going to live with the results. So, that's helped the Devils in these last 2
Yeah, and really what it comes down to going into Game 5 is the puck possession, right? We held the puck for a long time. We were smart with our passes, smart with the outlet passes to the neutral zone, through the neutral zone.
We talked about this a lot, not to interrupt you, but I prefer so much more that the Devils use their speed to gain the zone and then find ways to cycle from there. The dump and chase, you can use it in certain moments, but by and large, it's a very risky one because what you're asking your team to do is to play that physicality maybe too consistently, selectively, and on the boards, fantastic work. And I just think that the Devils are striking that balance.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, and hats off to John Marino, Kevin Ball, the entire defensive.
I know. These are the unheralded ones in a game like this.
But honestly, it's every single defensive pairing had a great game.
Yep.
And you can't look at glaring mistakes that they had. They were stepping up on the blue line, for the Rangers to try to get into into their offensive zone. And the fact that our defense was stepping up on the blue line and really making it difficult for them to dump the puck and chase the puck. Overall, phenomenal game.
In some ways, some soft pinches almost, right?
Yeah.
At times we've seen the Devils overskate to try to make those happen. This was almost just being right there on the edge, ready to meet you when you want to turn and make that extra outlet pass. As you said, a phenomenal game, a 3-1 victory. We're going to be back in before the Thursday night game where, yes, yours truly will be in attendance at the Rock along with Danny and cousin John, brother John. We're all going to be there together celebrating what hopefully will be the first home victory in this series for the New Jersey Devils. Man,
I'm excited, man.
Thanks, Palat. Woo! We hope that all things will be gravy. I don't know. Jack's
this is phenomenal, man.
I mean, it's all there, right?
And like you were
Akira. That's my new one. I'm using a little Shakira.
Yeah, we were so deflated after 2 games, but like everybody was saying, especially us Devils fans, most Devil fans, there was a lot of pessimists out there. But listen, this is a long series. To win 4 games against any NHL team that's in the playoffs is difficult, and the Devils proved it. Ruff made the right moves. We were all questioning his moves that he was making. He made the right moves going into Game 3. We pulled that out with a great shot by Hamilton coming into Game 4. We dominated, I'm going to say 70% of that game. Rangers didn't play too bad. They have a lot of things they're going to clean up too. They're going to come in with a passion coming into Game 5, ready to win.
Series is as far from over as it's ever been at any point.
Listen, this is a very even series now. This is what we expected, a 6-7 game series like we called, in the beginning of the playoffs. And we're going to get that. Listen, I think this is going to go 6 or 7. I would love to see the Devils win the next 2, obviously. Let's have fun with it. This is awesome. What a great playoff series. 2-2. We're going into Game 5 Thursday, baby. Let's do it.
You better believe it. On YouTube at Devils Puck Luck, on Twitter at NJDevilsPL, at Adam Armbrecht, at Danny the Face on Instagram.
At Devils Puck Luck.
And we're throwing the new one out here. We used it last time around. Yes, we hope as it is on the ice, so too will it be all things gravy, but also, baby, Dougie, come back!